on Ukraine. You mentioned the victory plan and the discussions about that. So yesterday in Brussels, the Chancellor was very open about very clear about his opposition to major parts in Zelensky's victory plan, and Zelensky himself seemed a little frustrated by the conversations he had in Brussels yesterday. So I'm wondering, and also the U.S. seems to take issue with some big parts in that victory plan. So what is the path forward here? What can the U.S. and maybe Germany also offer? What's the game plan? Because the president himself said tough winter is coming. And that's the only thing that's on the table right now. So where are you there? What's the way forward?
The Quad leaders are meeting today, as you know, and they're going to be talking about the victory plan. As we've said, and I can, it's the same thing I would say today. We are still going through the victory plan in detail. We're still talking to our Ukrainian counterparts about it. Today, the president has an opportunity to get the perspectives of these European leaders and to share his perspective on it. Look, again, without getting into, as I refused to do earlier, we're not getting into every clause and sub-paragraph on this thing. I would just tell you that we appreciate and respect the work that President Zelensky put into it and the thoughtfulness that he put into it. And we're going to continue to work with him and his team to see what this just peace can and should look like, but with a recognition that, look, we believe that the best way the war ends is through a negotiated settlement. But it has to be up to President Zelensky to determine if and when that occurs and what the circumstances are.
If I may, it's not about the small details, so it's about the big lines in the victory plan that are an obstacle, obviously, like an unconditional invitation to NATO or long-range weapon use, like Western weapon use on Russian territory. That's not small and minor details. That's the big, pillars of this victory plan. So if you're not in line there, what's the future?
Why don't we let the Quad leaders sit and talk about this before I go characterizing their positions on each of the components of it? I'm not going to do that. We've been very consistent with respect to NATO, and I think somebody asked me a NATO question. NATO is going to be in Ukraine's future, no question about that. But the first thing we have to do is help them win this war. We got to make sure that they have what they need now. That's why they talked about the battlefield today with Chancellor Scholz. Second is we got to make sure that if and when and however this war ends, Ukraine has the ability to not only have a strong, vibrant defense industrial base, but that they have pledging commitments from other countries, including the United States, for long-term security needs that they're going to have. They're still going to have a long border with Russia, no matter how this war ends. They got to be able to deal with potentially continued aggressive Russia. And then, even while all that's going on, we're going to continue to work with Ukraine on the necessary reforms that they will need to make in order to apply for NATO membership. NATO is going to be in their future. We've put forward some pathways and some milestones to help them get there, and that's where we are. That's where we are in the United States.
I just heard you say NATO isn't going to be in their future.
I said it is.
NATO is going to be in their future?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kirby, back to
Did I say isn't?
Yeah.
No, NATO is going to be in Ukraine's future.
Back to the